You cannot bank on the Luo vote in 2027. No, you can't. And I've given reasons. They didn't vote for Raila when he had his best chance. I know Raila would not agree. He would say that is the narrative people are carrying. But that is the truth. The figures are there. They don't lie.
That's quite true.
The figures lie. They are there. They didn't vote. You can go this part of the rigging. But the truth is, if half of them had voted, he would have beaten Ruto. But Kaluma ni mboga gani? Kaluma is a small, inconsequential person or party in the ODM party. In the equation of ODM, who is Peter Kaluma? Peter Kaluma ni mboga gani? He's a tiny guy. You can't use Kaluma and Sifuna in the same sentence. No. Kaluma is just another noisemaker. In fact, Mudavadi has made this position look so useless. In the next election, you can't use it for bargaining. You can't tell people who are part of presidents, who are part of deputy, part of prime G, it's called prime what? Prime something. And prime people just see you as a joker. It means nothing.
Okay. Very good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Candy Talk here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Evan Sokinyi. I'm here with Professor Herman Manyora. Prof, how are you?
Good. Yes.
Burial of the slain member of Parliament, MP, of course, Ngondo, where Sir Charles therein. The absence of Orango and Anyang' Nyong'o was actually conspicuous. However, Babu Owino and Edwin Sifuna were actually seen there. What do you make of the absence of the two? Is it now clear that the house is indeed coming down?
Governors are busy people, so you can't know where Nyong'o or Orango were. They could have been out of the country. These are busy people. They head governments. Orango heads the Siaya County government. Anyang' Nyong'o heads the Kisumu County government. They are heads of government. And therefore, I may not know. They are busy people. They may have been out of the country.
The heads of the government, but of course, they are members of the Orange Party.
But they don't have to be there. There have been events where Raila has missed, maybe because he was out of the country or something like that, or had better other engagements. Busy people, these are big people, they have different engagements. Not every big person was in that funeral. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
because I don't have any information as to why they were not there. But if you want us to read, the assumption being that they kept off deliberately, then that will be an indicator to the rift within ODM.
Raila said, no, look, these people are just right, there is no rift here. But then from that particular event, and remember the kind of hype it was given, and pomp, and the nature and all it, and how it was actually attended, even by members of parliament from several other regions, and then you fail to see the governor there. People are saying now, look, it's beyond any reasonable doubt that these people are not in agreement. Now, I wonder what would actually befall them. But then at the same time, do you think that Orango would actually manage to go on his own way and succeed at doing that?
Why not? Orango is not a boy from Siaya.
Okay.
Orango is a powerhouse. Yeah, and Raila knows that. Everybody knows that.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not a boy. You can't ignore Orango in Luo politics. How? Yeah.
Okay. Look at the kind of politics these people are playing down there. I had John Badi speaking, and he was actually giving a chronological account of events, of how elections have been here, talking of these people actually lied to Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, then they lied to Raila Odinga.
Which people? Which people?
They said, actually, when we were getting him, he was like, because you see the kind of confusion that is there in ODM right now is whether they can actually go to the other side and support her. Because when they look at the mountain is with Rigathi Gachagua and, of course, anti-Ruto. And they're saying here that, look, if that is the kind of direction that Orango wants to take us, then that is a very dangerous route. We cannot actually go there.
Which route is this?
The route of being anti-Ruto, and therefore that would mean that they work one-on-one with the government. Remember the other time?
But Luos have done that all the while. Luos are associated with the firebrand politics. Yeah, they are known to oppose the conservative forces who oppose change. They have always been on the progressive side. So what Orango is doing is just a continuation of what Luos know best. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that perhaps the community is now tired of playing the politics of opposition, if at all John Mbadi's words are supposed to be believed?
That's what Mbadi would want us to believe, but we'll have to wait and see, although I doubt. I think the Luo community, just like any other community, respect their leaders, and Raila is their leader now. And they may follow Raila where Raila takes them, including to Ruto. But that's not to say Luos are not experiencing the challenges all of us are experiencing in this country. The pain brought by an economy that is not working, a collapsed education system, a collapsed healthcare system. Just like anybody else, they are feeling. So whereas they may, out of respect for their Luo leader, who is Raila Odinga, who also happens to be a national leader, whereas they may follow Raila, it will still remain true that the problems can't be wished away. And for that reason also, what Orango is saying will be listened to by many people who will agree with him from Luo Nyanza. To mean, therefore, that when push comes to shove, as they say, and Orango tries to appeal to the community just as Raila is doing the same, he may not have a majority of the people, but then it will badly injure Raila's reputation and the control or power. In terms of numbers, therefore, if there are 1 million Luo votes, of course there are more, double that number. So let's say if there are 2 million Luo votes, there are 2.1 million registered last. So let's just use 2 million who vote out of maybe 3 million registered by that time. Raila could have swayed almost all to Ruto, okay? Because he's a respected community leader. But because of Orango, he may hardly go beyond 1 million.
So do you expect this kind of tiff that we're witnessing between the two leaders to continue up to the next elections?
Yeah, depending on a number of factors. One, whether Raila will remain with Ruto to the end. That's quite critical. And the two, whether Orango will be persuaded to tone down. But more importantly, what the Gen Zs from the Luo community will be going forward. Will they join the other Gen Zs in the country demanding for change? Demanding for a new order that creates hope for tomorrow? Demanding for leadership that recognizes that young men and women must get employment? If they join the other Gen Zs in the country, across the country, then irrespective of how these two people fight, the Gen Zs may chart a path that will be closer to Orango than to Raila. Yeah.
Do you think the community is at crossroads right now?
I think so far, not yet. So far, the community still listens to Raila Odinga. But the voices coming from Orango are also being heard. And they are being heard loud and clear. So I think in another 6 months or so, we should be able to see a clear path. And we will see where people are walking. Those on the right of the path, those on the left of the path, those on the path. It will become clear. But for now, it is still hazy. Yeah.
If you look at it from this point here, because John Mbadi, I understand, is talking of, in as much as we worked with former President Uhuru Kenyatta during the handshake, not even a single position was given to them. That is what he was actually saying. And he's saying, look, this young man has come out of nowhere and has given us these positions. In fact, the first cabinet secretary in charge of treasury being him, and he's saying, look, we have to weigh our options as a community, and then look for the best way for us, because he's talking of development, he's talking of roads, he's talking of they cannot actually eat the politics of fighting for democracy, human rights, and justice, and all that.
Mbadi is an educated man, slightly young. He knows unless things are moving right, these temporal gains won't take anybody anywhere. He will enjoy being a minister and he will live there a billionaire. But that's not to say the country will be doing well. Mbadi should know that this country must have good politics. So, according to Mbadi, every community must wait until they have a minister for them to benefit. Again, that is very cheap thinking. Coming from Mbadi, I'm not very happy. So, Mbadi is confusing develop, even if we were to be regional. So, so the Luo people should be happy that Mbadi is a minister. There are already stories about him buying property and that. What is 100 million? To be a minister in charge of the treasury, he will live with a few billions. And hiyo sauti ikitoka wewe ni sauti ambayo imekula breakfast mzuri. So I think Mbadi is confusing personal benefit with the community benefits. Because I remember the Luyas were complaining about the sort of development Uhuru was taking to Luo Nyanza.
Yeah.
You heard that. So it's only recognized that somebody is doing something if Mbadi has a flag to fly. I thought it was Uhuru who unclogged Lake Victoria for ships to fly, and last time I was taking my grandchildren for a walk at the port. I saw 3-4 MV Uhuru, MV sijui what. You know, one was loading goods to take to Uganda, another one was offloading, and it is completely linked to the railway line, feeding the harbor, feeding the lake port. So it's a very modern way of goods coming from the ship to go to the train and vice versa. They link to one, quite synced. A number of things that the Luo were very happy that Raila had been able to persuade Uhuru to do, including the extension of the SGR, which was mooted that time, which is just perhaps now being at the stage of implementation. So Mbadi is happy only when some 2-3 Luos are ministers. So which is not good, because then that Mbadi is telling the rest of the country that you have to wait until your son or daughter is a minister for you to see anything. Recently, he made Luyas very, very annoyed. In fact, Mudavadi has become very unpopular in Wetangula. Because there is a hospital that Governor Oparanya did. The structure is complete, quite a complex, a really serious level 6 hospital. But it got somewhere where they need 3 billion to complete now the inside, the finer details inside. I don't know exactly what, but the structures are more or less complete. They just require 3 billion to complete, and it operates at level 6. The best Ruto could offer the Luyas here was about 200 million, which he hasn't even given. And I could be wrong. But the point I'm raising, when the Luyas are looking for 3 billion to complete level 6, Mbadi is standing on a platform to tell Luos, I'm just going to give Jaramogi Odinga Hospital, the one we call Russia,
Yes,
New Nyanza General Hospital, 3.2 billion for operational expense, not for expansion. You may not know how much you will give it for expansion, but just for operations, because he was equating what the county government of Nyang Nyong gives the hospital. And I've said this many times, that Nyang Nyongo gives the hospital 300 million for operation. He is going to give them 3.2 billion. From 300 million, tenfold to 3.2 B. So that cheapness, Mbadi must stop.
How much?
He's annoying Kenyans.
How much premium do you think President William Ruto is actually putting on the Luo region and the Luo community?
It seems he has given them Opio and I, energy sector, which is a very powerful docket. Opiyo Ndai has boasted of how much he's doing for the Luos in terms of the energy, which is good. There's nothing wrong. He has given them finance, which is, I think, the most powerful portfolio after maybe interior or the same at par with the interior. He has given them the Attorney General. On top of other things like PS and what have you, and a lot more is coming. So Ruto has placed great premium on his partnership with Raila, and by extension, he seems to give premium on the Luo community. My advice to him is to be not to count so much on the Luo vote. The Luo vote is shaky in the sense that at a time when the Luo had the best chance of becoming president, which is 2022, more than any other chance, because for the first time the system was working with them. Out of 2.1 registered voters of the Luo counties of Migori, Shire, Kisumu, and Homa Bay, only 1.4 out of 2.1. 700,000 didn't vote. If half of those had voted, I'm not talking about the Luos in Nairobi and elsewhere. If half of the Luos who didn't vote from the 4 Luo counties had voted, Raila would have beaten Ruto clean, irrespective of what games were played. So are those the people who will be Ruto is banking on?
So there's a lot of political game being played.
And now you can see the division within the community, with people like Orango and the rest pulling the... It will mean what Ruto will reap from Luo Nyanza will be so insignificant. At some point, seated somewhere, will be wondering, why did I not see this? Why did I waste my time, energy, and resources?
Okay.
You cannot bank on the Luo vote in 2027. No, you can't. And I've given reasons. They didn't vote for Raila when he had his best chance. I know Raila would not agree. He would say that is the narrative people are carrying. But that is the truth. The figures are there. They don't lie.
That's quite true.
The figures lie. They are there. They didn't vote. You can go this part of the rigging. But the truth is, if half of them had voted, he would have beaten Ruto. You could still argue even with that things could happen. But let's start with them voting. Okay? Secondly, there is division. That's where you started your show.
Yes.
There's a division between the two. That will impact on how many people will vote for Ruto if Raila goes all the way to 2027 with Ruto. And thirdly, a significant section of the population, what we now call Gen Z, could decide to go with the rest of the country, with the rest of the Gen Zs from across the country. And they don't seem to find much favor with Ruto's government. So I am not seeing much to benefit.
Okay.
So to answer your question, yes, he seemed to be putting a lot of premium on the Luo vote. And unfortunately for him, he will not get a lot from there. Yeah.
When you look at the kind of divisions that we're witnessing in ODM right now, and of course, these are the sole cause of this is the broad-based kind of arrangement. Do you think this was a bait by the president to Raila Odinga, and he actually swallowed it, and here we are with this problem?
Maybe, yes. You could say so. Yeah.
That all this would be attributed to his relationship now with the former president.
Yeah. Yes.
But what would President William Ruto gain by ensuring that ODM is actually finished, if that were to be the case?
You see, if you work with Raila supporting you, but you leave the party to be independent and think independently. So independent of Raila, the party may go where the party normally belongs, which is on the side of the progressive forces, on the side of change. So what benefit will Raila bring you alone? Somebody is just texting me and telling me something here, but yeah.
Okay. Well, that is it.
I don't know how he knew we are discussing this. I think it's from another show we had done. Almost exactly what we are discussing. It looks like it was a live show. Yeah.
Definitely. So finally, look at the position of Edwin Sifuna. He says here, look, I'm the Secretary General of this particular party, and I speak on behalf of the party. look at that kind of arrangement. How does he then now find himself in this? Because I also saw the kind of response that he got from one Peter Opondo Kaluma, the member of parliament for Homa Bay Town constituency, on the same, telling him you either toe the line or ship out. That is what they're saying.
But Kaluma ni mboga gani? Kaluma is a small, inconsequential person or party in the ODM party. In the equation of ODM, who is Peter Kaluma? Peter Kaluma ni mboga gani? He's a tiny guy. You can't use Kaluma and Sifuna in the same sentence. No. Kaluma is just another noisemaker.
Okay.
He has to rise to where he can speak from where. Now he has no platform. He's an noisemaker. People don't even listen to what he says. How did you know what he said? Yeah, don't even listen. How did you? You have time to listen to Peter Kaluma.
Peter Kaluma actually.
You can't ask you. If he asks Sifuna, and on the spot Raila is saying Sifuna speaks for the party, how's Kaluma ni mboga gani? Yeah. Didn't you see Raila saying this is the spokesman of the party?
See, the last time I was actually talking to Kaluma one-on-one, he told me I should actually invite him so that he can.
Yeah, please let him come. For the audience, he's a good person. The audience may like a bit of the noise.
Anyway, that is it. But then now, how does this then impact the position of Edwin Sifuna himself as the Secretary General of this party? Whenever the party position, or rather, you see the kind of the party itself and a number of the members, their ideas are conflicting with his own individual ideas and principles. And how then should he navigate this?
It will get to a point where we shall know whether these differences are genuine. At that point, Sifuna may be forced, not by Kaluma or anybody, he may be forced to join progressive forces and say to hell with ODM or say to hell with Raila. If these differences are genuine. Because what people like Kaluma and the rest and Mbadi are saying is that variance is what Sifuna stands for. And even at a personal and practical level, if Sifuna were to go with the thinking of Mbadi and Kaluma, even this city Nairobi can't get. Okay. Nairobi belongs to progressive forces. Yeah. Nairobi is always a city of people who can think. Not think in that manner, but really, whenever even opposition is taking shape in any country, you'll find it's more pronounced in the capital city. Okay. So if you went to Kampala, you will think Bobby Wine is going to win this city. But you go to the villages, Museveni is still the man. People can't take chance. They find security in the familiar. They find security in Museveni. They are not very easily willing to try new things with small boys like Bobby Wine or fellows like BCJ. Okay. But if you are in Kampala, you think the world is on fire. So Nairobi cannot be kind to Sifuna if he uses Kaluma's thinking, even for his personal survival. So at some point we shall get to know. Okay.
How does the divisions that we are actually witnessing now impact on the Western faction of the ODM?
The Western faction?
Yes.
Yeah, because if you touch Sifuna in the manner in which naively Kaluma is suggesting and a few of these fellows, if you touch Sifuna, then you are saying goodbye to Western Kenya. Already not many people are happy with it. I can tell you for a fact, there are not many people who are happy with Raila in Western. So by touching Sifuna, that will be the proverbial straw that broke what? The camel's back. Yeah. Okay. You touch Sifuna in the manner in which a few people have been touched, like Kina Babu Namwamba, Kina Malgarel and the rest. You can kiss goodbye to Western support, Luya support.
When you look at this broad-based arrangement, and then remember the former Prime Minister, if we are told we are to assume that is the case, then he was given 4 positions. 2 of them went to Luo Nyanza, 1 to Western Kenya, and the other one to the coast. Why is it that there isn't that much feeling of an insider from the Western side as opposed to the...
to begin with, all along it was assumed Oparanya will take finance.
Yes.
Then they gave it to Mbadi.
And do you remember even before the elections?
Yeah.
During that particular time.
It was the finance...
The Minister for Finance and National Planning.
Designate.
Yes.
It was Oparanya.
Yes, so it was Oparanya.
Then... You demote him to cooperative, and give the fairly junior in experience Mbadi, who happens to be a tribesman with Raila. I don't think Luyas liked it. Oparanya himself was sulking. Initially, he even didn't want to take the job. So how do you expect Luyas to be happy?
Okay. So you expected this?
Just from there. Hapo tu kwanza iliharibikia hapo. And then, since then, not much has come to show that the Luya is really part of this animal called broad-based. That is made even worse by the fact that the Tawe movement is shaking the western ground. Natembeya is telling people, look, the people you have said there, kina Mudavadi, kina Wetangula, these are just jokers.
Kama ni story.
Bora Shibe.
Kama ni story how people being in government. Why is it that this ministry doesn't seem to make the western side feel included?
They were looking for a big thing. And now they are given second choice. Even the guy who wanted a girl in the Bible, he was told to look after animals for 7 years. Then he's given the wrong one. When he complained, he was told do another 7 years to get the right one. You know that, eh? Okay. So the Luyas are still doing another 7. So they will be quiet.
But of course, if we look at it in totality, of course, that position of Prime Cabinet Secretary, the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Health Ministry, that has so far been taken away from them, and the others. So
those are small, inconsequential positions, and the people there themselves have been well described by Natembeya. I don't need to go through it again. Yeah. In fact, Mudavadi has made this position look so useless. In the next election, you can't use it for bargaining. Okay. You can't tell people who are part of presidents, who are part of deputy, part of prime G. It's called prime what? Prime something. And prime cabinet. People just see you as a joker. It means nothing. Okay. Because Mudavadi has made it look very useless. Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's wait and see. Our eyes are still fixed on what is taking place within the Orange Party. I mean, it's these internal divisions and rifts that we're witnessing. Allow me to stop for now. You can weigh in and tell us what you actually think. Till we have this conversation again, have yourself a lovely day. My name is Evans Okenye.